Guys, this is video number 9, I believe, number 9. Today we're gonna make beef ragu. Real easy, we're gonna make it from scratch. You will need your normal mirepoix, garlic, bell pepper. We're gonna use tomato paste for our sauce. Okay, we have ground beef. When it comes to ground beef, different fat content is up to you on how much fat you want. This is I believe a 75-25 blend that we're going to be using here. And then we're going to be cooking our pasta. So for ragu, usually means it's chunky. It's not a long time simmered sauce. So we're going to serve it over fettuccine noodles. Other things you could serve it over, more traditional, would be pappardelle. It's a thicker noodle. I mean, a lot thicker. It's up to you though, if you want to buy it. So we'll start by cutting up our vegetables. Small dice and everything. Cutting off the ends, they're just a little dried out, that's all. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my celery. Okay, I'm gonna cut straight down the middle of the rib. Okay, if you wanna go smaller, you can cut them again. I'm gonna stick with a little bit chunkier, your own personal preference, and then go through and cut. While this is going on, I have water on in the back. Bring it up to a boil. I'm gonna add salt to it right before I add my pasta. It just helps with bringing that salt flavor. It also helps with the not messing up my pan, which, surprise, surprise, that can happen. iPad. I have an assistant today who is walking around helping me. Right, Isley?
Yeah.
She has the iPad control, so she is my little go-to helper. Okay, so next I'm gonna do my carrot. Up to you on peeling. If you don't peel it, make sure you scrub it really well. If you do peel it, just need to wash it off pretty good. If you're having trouble with washing vegetables, get some vinegar in a spray bottle, that helps. But other than that, if you don't want to peel, you don't have to, just scrub it really good. I'm gonna peel just because that's what we do in restaurants. So peeled. Now my water's boiling, but I'm gonna wait until after I get everything prepped before I put my fettuccine in. I want it to all try to kind of come out pretty close to the same time. So if I cooked it now, those noodles would be done before I had time. So I'm gonna cut it in half just so it's easier to work with instead of that long carrot. You want about, so mirepoix is generally, it's called 2 to 1 to 1. So 2 parts onion to 1 part carrot to 1 part celery, and that's measured. So if we were measuring this, you roughly want the same amount of celery and carrot, and then twice the amount of onions. Because generally what happens is the onions cook down and disappear a lot farther than the carrots and the celery do. So roughly about 1 large carrot, 2 small carrots, that works as well. You can put that iPad right here if you want. You can stand here. No. Garlic. We're gonna need garlic in this. It's up to you if you want to use fresh, powdered. Time of convenience, I like to use this pre-minced stuff. The only problem with it is it does kind of have a pickling agent that helps hold it. So it kind of adds a little to the flavor. Okay. And the only other thing I'm doing different than a traditional mirepoix, I'm gonna add bell peppers to it. I just like how bell peppers taste, so I'm adding that to it. Easiest way to do it. Some people tell you cut off tops and the bottoms. I'm gonna tell you, for at home, it's wasteful. Restaurants, they do it for how it looks. Okay, but you don't have to. I like to cut them in half. Pull out the seeds, pull out the pith. Pith is the white stuff inside. Okay, usually cutting peppers is easier to cut from the inside than the outside. Just easier. Okay, you start by cutting them into strips. Again, small dice. Okay, if your knife is not cutting very easily, you need to sharpen it or hone it. Okay, before you do that, make sure you wipe it off with a towel. Doesn't have to be a wet towel, doesn't have to be a paper towel, just a towel, wipe it off. That excess stuff off, then hone it with your steel. Okay, I'm going to add the same amount of bell peppers as I am as onions, or as, no, I'm sorry, carrots. Next, I am going to dice up my onion. Sorry, I had to double check my mic was on. I did caramelized onions for you guys, and I had to redub the sound because I forgot to turn the old microphone on. So I recorded the whole thing, then realized I had no sound. So when you watch that video, it's dubbed. But you can laugh at me later for that. So I'm going to be using my Dutch oven to cook this in. That's what I use to bake bread, if you guys remember the bread episode. Remember, you want to cut off the growing end, not the root end. Keep the root end on. Cut halfway through. This is where you determine how big your size of your dice is going to be. Remember to use that claw grip. Keep those fingertips back. No point in losing fingers. Thumb tucked back. Okay. Also remember that we don't want to lose any fingers or toes, so if your knife falls, jump back out of the way. Don't try to catch it. Only make things worse. I've been told that this is a very satisfying thing to watch me cut onions by both adults and students. So if you would learn how to do it, you could do it at home and satisfy your parents and satisfy each other all you want. Not quite double, but a lot more onions than we have with the other stuff, and that's totally fine. Not a big deal. Get that out of the way. The stove. Over here. So, this is my Dutch oven. Big pot will work, big pan will work. Any of those will work for cooking in. Fix my camera there. Cooking oil, olive oil, vegetable oil, whatever you're going to use. And I'm out of gas, aren't I? Let's see. No, we're good. I'm going to use blend oil, it's olive oil, and vegetable oil mixed together. That's what I like to use. You can use whatever you want. Remember, extra virgin olive oil generally is for flavor to add at the end, so don't cook with it. It doesn't have a very good burning temperature, so it tends to burn and you lose the flavor anyways. So a good swirl, 2 tablespoons. We're gonna let that heat up. You want about medium high to high low on your temperature. Depending on how hot it gets, how quickly. Okay, we're going to start with our meat. Kind of want to break it up if you can beforehand. If your meat's still, it's actually good if you get it frozen, freeze your meat. A little bit frozen to where it's just a little stiff is actually pretty good. It's a good thing to do. We want this to stay in kind of chunks. We don't want it to disappear. Okay. Got a good, nice sizzle. It gets a little hotter and sizzles a lot. That's okay. I like it when it doesn't go crazy right as you throw it in. You end up burning stuff without meaning to when you do it that way. Okay, this is going to start browning. The second that the browning stops, I'm going to start adding vegetables. Okay, and add my onions first. Okay, and I'm going to add a tablespoon of garlic. If you buy fresh, about 2 cloves should be good. 2 good sized cloves. Doesn't have to be huge, it doesn't have to be small. If you want to have this pre-done, I'm going to put my garlic right in there with my onions, ready to go. That's part of our mise en place. Everything's ready to go. Okay, depending on your burger blend is going to determine if you want to drain this or not. Mine I will probably drain. Generally, if it's under 15, so your 85-15 blend as opposed to a 75-25 blend, you want to drain the bigger one. For those of you who don't know how at home, I usually keep a can. This is an empty old can of baked beans. If you look in there, you'll see it's actually bacon grease. So I like to keep that just in case. On this meat, I don't want to super cook it, so I'm really just waiting until right before the pink disappears. I can probably go ahead and throw it in. Some of like that. Maybe. Go. Okay, most of my pink is gone, so I'm going to go ahead and add my onions and garlic. While that's going, I'm going to put my noodles in my water. In case you're wondering, I'm using Kroger brand, so fettuccine. I'm not sure what Gene sells, but always save any brand of pasta, really. Don't break them. Okay, into your water, spread them out. Give them about a count of 15 or 20, and then start stirring. And I'm adding my salt as well right now. One good, probably 2 tablespoons of salt into your water. And at this point, you just want to make sure you kind of separate your noodles really well. In case you're wondering, yes, I use the same spoon. Okay, some of my onions are starting to get translucent at this point. So I will add carrots, celery, and bell peppers. So, in case you're wondering, we're making ragu, which is a fancy meat sauce. Okay, if you want to spice up any of your meat sauce, red pepper flakes, when you would add them to your sauce, gonna put a little pinch. Okay, and then I'm gonna season it with salt and pepper. When it comes to salt, salt shaker is fine. Grinder is fine with salt. When it comes to pepper, you really want to use a grinder for better flavor. You don't have to, but you want more of a fresh pepper flavor, definitely buy a grinder. And like this is, again, Dylan's Private Select grinder. You buy it this way. If not, I have another one I'll show you. I have this one with pepper grounds. The only difference is this one you grind from the top, behind the pepper. This one you grind at the lid, the bottom. Okay, this one you can refill, this one you can't. Talking myself with carrots. Stir. Now, at this point, if you want, you can deglaze. And deglaze is getting all the stuff that's stuck to the bottom, any little bits. They add to the flavor. You can use wine, or you can use water. It's a red sauce, so you want to use a red wine. I'm going to use a merlot. About half a cup. Stir it in so it gets everything off the bottom. Let it sit and simmer. Meantime, I'm going to open up my tomato paste. To get a spatula and just pull it all out. Okay, if you want to get all of it out, go ahead and fill this with water, give it a stir. For now we just want the paste. Okay. We want to make sure that we stir it so that it is combined with everything else. And to this we are going to add some water. If you want to make a chicken stock or use chicken stock with bouillon, you can. I'm just doing water. I'm going to add some dried oregano. Some dried basil. If you don't have those, it's okay. If you have Italian seasoning, same thing. Okay, we're just gonna stir it in. We're gonna let this simmer. Turn the heat to low, so that it simmers and doesn't boil. Noodles are pretty close. Checking those. Okay, if you want more tomato flavor, you can add a little more paste to it. If you wanted to add fresh tomatoes, you can do that now as well. Spoon. It's going to simmer a little while longer, but I'm going to give it a taste for seasoning. So I'm going to salt. I know that looks like a lot, but it's not. Pepper. And stir. In restaurants, we would use a new spoon every time. You're at home, that's up to you. One of the tricks we do at school is if we use this end, you can turn around and use the other end, especially for sauces. That's better. Don't forget your noodles have been salted, so they will have salt as well. This is a ragu. Ragus are chunky. They're supposed to be chunky. You're supposed to see everything. Marinara, usually you blend it, okay, and that's why you have a smoother sauce. You still want to kind of taste those flavors. Vegetables you still want to kind of taste. That's why we kept them and didn't cook them until they were dead. Okay. So my pasta is done. I just turned off the heat. I have not drained it or anything. Turned it off for right now. I'm going to be bringing it over, and instead of draining it, you have two options here. One, you can drain it. You can serve the sauce over the top of it. Or two, you can just take your pasta with some tongs, or you can drain it and put it straight into the sauce. The reason why I'm telling you this is because if your sauce is still super thick and you want a little runnier, the water from the pasta can help thin it out. For mine, I'm going to do both for you. If you're going to serve it with the pasta not mixed in, I would suggest draining it. If you're going to put the pasta over the top, yes, drain it. If you're going to serve it with it mixed together, up to you on the draining. Okay, so I have taken some out. I'll take top. And finish it with cheese. Which for this I will use my blocked Parmesan. My funny little cheese shredder. And just right on top. So there you have the fancy, and then I will take the rest of this and make it not fancy. Stir this all together. And I will take this one. And I'll even use old Kraft. And there you go. So, towels. Up to you. Enjoy.